Well, good morning to everyone. My name is Rick Sorensen. I'm a professor in the Educational Leadership and Foundations Department. I was a teacher for a number of years. I became an assistant principal for about 2 years. I became a principal for about 11 years. And then I was an associate superintendent with HR, with personnel, for almost 5 years. So during those years, I gained quite a bit of, experience and information as it relates to the law and how the law is an important aspect of the education business, of the profession. So it's something that you need to have a good understanding of, a keen understanding of, because without the law, without an understanding of the law, you can find yourself not only lost, but you can find yourself in a very quick legal entanglement. And those that get themselves in legal entanglement typically do one of two things. One, they don't know or understand the law. Or two, they do something stupid. And the reason they do something stupid is because they didn't know or understand the law. So we'll talk about that in a little while. We'll come to what I call in my coursework the S factor. S standing for what? Stupidity. Stupidity. You don't want to do something stupid that gets you in trouble with the law. Gets you in trouble to the point that you are either terminated and your certificate is revoked. And in this day and age, you have to be very, very cautious, especially as it relates in terms of your relationship to students. Your relationship to students. So we'll talk about all those things here in the next few minutes. All right, here we go. You ready? Questions before we start. Everything you ever wanted to know about educational law but were afraid to ask, okay? And speaking about being afraid to ask, don't be afraid to ask. Feel free to interrupt me, raise your hand, shout out, come up here and tackle me, whatever you need to do to get my attention, and I'll certainly try my very best to answer any questions that you have. I will issue this disclaimer. While I've had great experience in terms of school administration, while I have taught educational law several years, I do not claim, nor should I ever claim, to be a lawyer. And we'll talk a little bit more about that and the importance of seeking legal advice if you find yourself in a predicament. All right, here we go. Why school law? Because it's grounded in education code. You need to know the law because education code has been developed either by legislation or by judicial decree. That has come to us and has been put into what is known as Texas Education Code, TEC. So there's a big, thick, I should have brought it with me, but there's a big, thick, we like to call it the legal Bible in our business. And it's, as a part of that is TEC, those codes associated with Texas education law. Well, how does the law impact me? I just want to teach. I just want to work with students. Well, it impacts you in the following areas. Student attendance, the instructional program, discipline, personnel issues, Nickleby, student rights, teacher rights, religion, privacy issues, and special education. These are the 10 key categories, associated with school law that any educator, whether it be a teacher, a counselor, an administrator, a paraprofessional, they need to have an understanding grounded in what the law represents and how it relates to them. And effective principles teach the law. Effective principles teach the law. Texas Education Code is passed from judicial decisions or legislation down to the school districts. At the school district level, Texas Education Code is put into what? Does anyone know? At the school district level, what is it put into? It's put into board policy. Board policy. And board policy is the law as it relates to the district. There's legal policy at the district level, and there's also local policy. Local is based on legal. It just takes legal a little bit further. It relates it to the local school, the local district, the local system. All right? Knowing the law deters litigation. It also reduces your anxiety, it forestalls problems, and it improves relationships. Teacher, administrator, administrator-teacher, teacher-parent, teacher-student, all those relationships can be improved with you having a good understanding of the law. Yes, ma'am?
Sorry, number 5, legal aid. I'm not aware of that.
That's the No, I'm sorry, I'm using the acronym, the No Child Left Behind Act of 2002, okay? No Child Left Behind. Good question, thank you. And excuse me for using the jargon, the educational jargon. We're almost as bad, maybe we're worse than the military. Everything is put into acronyms in our business, all right? So I'll try to avoid using the acronyms. All right. Today your principal gave you permission to paddle a 5th grader. Can you paddle? Can you administer corporal punishment in the state of Texas? Yes, you can. It is legal. It is legal to administer corporal punishment in the state of Texas. You administer 2 swats, 2 pops, 2 licks, whatever you call them. Anybody in here ever been popped? No, don't raise your hand. We won't embarrass you, okay? I have been, for a variety of reasons, back in the day. You administered 2 swats with parental permission. You made contact with the parent. You said that little Ricky has done this, that, and the other, and it's time to give him a paddling. You need to pop him on the bottom 2 times. And the parents say, do it. Have at it. The parent of the student later claims to have found a 2-inch bruise across the bottom of the kiddo, and subsequently reports the paddling to a local law enforcement agency, to also include Child Protective Services. All right? Here's the question. Is this action, the paddling, a legal entanglement for you, the school teacher? Yes? No, because it's legal. No, you're not voting. You got to vote here, okay? Yes, it's a legal entanglement.
Well, it depends on the permission. What type of permission was it?
Oh, we got permission. We have permission from the parents.
You've always told us that they have to be present.
They have to what?
That they have to be present.
They have to be present. Does the parent have to be present? Or could it be a no? Or could it be a telephone call? Does it matter?
It should matter, but you should be able to document it.
Okay, it should be documented. Documented how, would you say?
You would have to make a report of such.
Okay, so you put it in writing that you received permission
Right.
from the parent, okay? Yes?
The phone call can be dangerous because the parent later can say, I didn't say that.
Okay, I didn't say that, all right? Okay. Does your school district allow you to paddle? Does
No.
your school allow you to paddle? Okay, and we'll talk about that. Don't let me get away from this without talking about schools that paddle and schools that don't. Okay? Because again, it is legal in Texas. Now we're ready to vote again, all right? All that believe that this is a legal entanglement, raise your hand. All that say no, it is not a legal entanglement, and everybody must vote.
I don't think so.
No?
No,
Okay.
no.
Here it is. Maybe. Yes, if you used excessive force. And what is excessive force? What's excessive force? 2, 4, 6. What do you think excessive force is?
How hard you hit the.
Okay, so how do you measure that?
You can't.
You can't measure how hard you hit. So is there anything in this real to life, true, actual, in the state of Texas case, is there anything in here that suggests excessive force? Anything here?
Oh, you bruise it.
The bruises, all right? So excessive force was used on this child, all right? Can you paddle a child in the state of Texas?
Yes.
Yes, it's the law, it's legal. Can you paddle a child in the state of Texas if board policy says no?
No.
No, you can't. You can't go against board policy, even though the state allows paddling. Can you paddle the child if the state allows paddling? There is no board policy addressing it, but there's an administrative regulation that says you can't paddle. Can you paddle a child?
No.
No. Even administrative regulations come into play, and you must follow administrative regulations. Does that make sense? Okay? So, let me tell you a little bit about this. This happened in Kingsville, Texas. Kingsville, Texas is home to the King Ranch. Lyndon Johnson, when he was president, used to like to brag that the King Ranch was even bigger than the state of Connecticut. All right? So it's a huge ranch in South Texas. Sometimes you see the King Ranch being portrayed or being displayed on Ford, I think it's Ford pickups. They have the King Ranch edition. Well, Kingsville, Texas is where this occurred. Okay? There was a paddling of a child, and then the child went home, and the permission was granted. The child went home, and mother proceeded to paddle the child again. Who left the bruises? Who used excessive force? The educator or parent?
You wouldn't be able to know.
Well, they would. They were. They went to the district attorney. The district attorney dug into it, did serious, it became a litigation, and the parent ultimately admitted that, yes, I beat the child after she came home from school, being a 5th grader. All right? Now, were you involved in a legal mess as an educator in this situation?
Yes.
Yes, you were. So most school districts today say, I gotta be careful about the word most. Many school districts today say, no, you can't paddle. Many school districts, and probably the one that you work for in the greater Region 19, the greater El Paso area, probably says no. The district that I came from, when I first became a teacher, we could actually paddle students. We took them out in the hallway, told them to bend over and touch their ankle, and you could paddle them. Whether you agree or disagree with it, it was illegal. It was okay. Then it reached a point that you could do it as a teacher, but you had to do it in the principal's office. Then it reached a point that only the principal could do it. Then it reached a point, before I left the school system, more than a dozen years ago, that you couldn't paddle at all. And the reason for that is it just is an opportunity for a legal entanglement. Be careful. If you work, especially in smaller systems, typically now rural systems still allow paddling. Be careful and be smart. You be the judge again. Following a campus evacuation for a fire alarm. All right, does that happen? By law, it must happen once a month. There must be a fire alarm drill. Evacuation by fire alarm. You, the teacher, send a student back into the building to retrieve your grade book, guessing correctly that the alarm was only a drill. The alarm was only a drill. You, the teacher, are terminated. You're fired after the child's parents cite their expectation that their child should be safe with teachers, and a school district should not be required to give a second chance to a teacher, especially if you injure or potentially injure a child. With me? All right. You, the teacher, demand reinstatement and remediation. You demand, please reinstate me, please remediate me. Please help me understand what I did wrong here. Does that make sense? All right, here's the question. Is this action, sending a child back into the school building during a fire drill, a legal entanglement for you, the school teacher? Is it a legal entanglement? What happened here?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
No. Yes? No. All right, here goes. Absolutely, it's a legal entanglement. Absolutely, it's a legal entanglement. Whether it's a drill or whether it's the real thing, you never expose a child to Does anyone know the operative word up here? The operative word.
Guessing. She
I gotta
guessed
find it.
that.
I think it's up here, let me see.
Potential injury?
There it is, potential. The operative word is potential. Never expose the child to a potential injury. Does that make sense? All right.